My name is Nickel, oh Nickel, and we finally have the release date for Junkertown on the live servers in Overwatch. And if you guys are watching this in the future, this is actually a live stream. This is all just came out, and I want to talk to you guys about it because beyond the release date itself, we actually got a lot of small pieces of information about other things that had to do with Junkertown, including some information on the Queen. So I'll answer all of you guys' questions. Since this is a live stream, we'll do a little discussion at the end. But first, I wanted to go through all of the information and just talk about it. First off, the date of Junkertown being released in the live servers is on the 19th. So that's very soon. That's exactly a week from today. So we're actually going to be able to play that in not just the PTR, because as most of you guys know, it's actually been on the PTR for a while, but we're actually going to be able to play in the servers. Whether or not we're going to be able to do it in competitive on day one is something we don't actually know, but at the very least, we know that we'll have access to it. One of the most interesting things, though, was that they kind of went a little bit into the lore of certain aspects of it. Like, they were saying that after the Omnic crisis, the Australian government was trying to make peace with the Omnic populations in Australia, so they allowed them land around the Australian Omnium. And this is what displaced the solar farmers and the others that were living out there. And one of those people was Roadhog. And that might have been implied through other means before, but it's really interesting to hear them say that very directly. And let me make sure that you guys are, yep, there's tons of people. Hello, everybody. Everyone's saying hi a million times an hour. Hello, everybody. Guys, I'm going to answer all your questions towards the end. I just wanted to talk about this first. And yeah, somebody was mentioning in the chat that there actually is a lot of like, what do you call these? Like concept art, like lots of pieces of concept art. So I'll see if I can find one more fast before I kind of jump into the rest of it. Like that. Like that's a really cool one. Actually, this one has an interesting story. So if I was understanding this correctly, and you guys can correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe that they were referring to this as, or maybe it was actually the turbine. I can't remember if it was one of the sections they're referring to as the scrapyard. And the scrapyard is where they would watch gladiatorial style combat. And so apparently, the piece of information that we got on the Queen is that the Queen came from these gladiatory or gladiator style combat fighting matches, I guess you could say, between all these different things, mechs and people and everything. And a part of that, she was a very charismatic and skilled fighter. And so they didn't really go into it beyond that, but it's interesting that that's kind of how it sounds like the Queen came to rise to be where she is now. It makes sense because in this world, you kind of get the impression that it's a survival of the fittest type of scenario, but she was actually one of the fighters in the gladiator style of combat. So the thing that's really interesting is that they keep giving us a little bit more information each time. At first, we didn't think we were going to really get anything else besides just that voiceover at all. And then we got the image of what she actually looked like. And then there's the image right there, by the way. That's what she looks like. And now we're getting some information about her backstory. So it's very curious that they keep adding more and more information about her over time, which isn't really something that I expected. I thought she was kind of just be like a background character and that was it. Like the guy in the limo on Hollywood. But one of the things that Jeff Kaplan actually says in this is that so far Overwatch has focused a lot on Overwatch itself and Talon, and Junkertown, it kind of is hopefully going to be playing the role as the tip of the iceberg to all the other groups of people in Overwatch, in the Overwatch universe, because obviously it has a lot more to do with than just Talon and Overwatch by itself. And this part is really interesting here because usually we don't always get like the sound perspective, and you can see here like what they're doing here is recording a lot of the sounds from Junkertown. And apparently what they did is they went out to an old ghost town, and while they were out at that old ghost town, they said it was so quiet that you could even hear like the flies landing and stuff. So they just like recorded everything, and that sound that you hear when the payload is moving is based on this crank that they show in here. Oh, here's like another thing, like a squeaking thing. I wonder where this is. At first I thought this might be Calico or something, but I don't know. I've never seen this one. Calico actually has people in it. The way they described this was like super quiet. There's nobody here at all. That's the crank right there. So that crank thing right there is apparently what is the basis for the payload itself. When you hear it like creaking along, that sees the payload there. And one thing that was interesting too, beyond like describing a little bit of the backstory on the Queen, was they talked about very briefly. And again, maybe this could be implied. You could say it's implied in other aspects of it, but it's interesting that they say it directly that why did Junkrat and Roadhog go on this big exploit around the world? And you could probably gather this obviously from the Plan mini animated short, but he says straight up, it's because they wanted to buy their way back into the Queen's good graces, along with the surprise, of course. So the image that they show in here is even them during a moment in crime. So even during the Somber ARG, or at least was referenced in the Somber ARG, they're still trying to break it. Remember they broke into the Dorado bank way back then. All that stuff was for the Queen. So a lot of this speculation about what the Queen might be, initially, if you guys remember the videos, I really just kind of dismissed it because I was like, it's just whatever. It's just a whatever character. But the more that I think about it, the more it seems like they're really putting a lot to tie the Queen in. And the last time we saw him do something like that with the character ended up actually being in the game, which was Doomfist, I would say. And then before that, Sombra. So will the Queen be a character? I don't know. It's like you can't really say. She could just be a well-known non-playable character, kind of like Ify Oladele, or any of the other ones. Like we still have a couple of characters that have been mentioned by name, but we don't actually have them playable. She could easily be that. But yeah, there was another one. Somebody else pointed out that this one right here, this is like some, not concept art, but kind of like in development type of footage, which is really interesting to see. Here, I'll show you guys this right here. Let me see if I can actually catch that. That's really weird to see that I don't know anything about how they kind of make the 3D modeling of everything, but it looks like they're like kind of sliding it around on there. They're sliding each of the pieces. It reminds me of Tony Hawk when you're building your skating ramp. Probably not what they're doing, but or not how they're doing it. But it's cool to see them actually do this. I love that they put out videos like this, and that dog's just chilling there watching. Wait, what is he working on there? Jeez, he's like a composer creating a symphony of games. Yeah, so one of the other things that they talk about in here too is that like gameplay wise, they're focused on describing the impact of having obviously the turbine, which I'm sure is the obvious thing, but beyond that, it's the underpass below the turbine. So I'm sure most of you guys have seen the turbine by now, but in case you haven't, it's like that spinning platform where you can put turrets on and everything. You'll see an image of it in a second. But the underpass below it is kind of what they describe as being like the game changer, so to speak, because you can go from either side, from the attackers to the defenders, or from the defenders to attackers, and it makes it very unpredictable, which is true. And I think a lot more people are going to get a chance to play Junkertown once it's live, because I know a lot of you guys don't have access to the PTR. And beyond that, some of you guys only play on console, which means you might not have had a chance to play it at all. One of the other things I wanted to mention too was one more thing. Oh yeah, it was kind of interesting that the design of how they wanted Junkertown to be is like, they talk specifically about it not being hopeless. Like they actually wanted to make it be some place where you could kind of be like, oh, we want to hang out there. So there was a lot of information in such a short little piece. The most interesting parts by far to me were the lore aspects of it. Like just hearing those little snippets about the Queen, hearing the very direct like clarity type of answer for or clarification answer for anyone that was even questioning Junkrat and Roadhog's motives, or maybe it was too convoluted for people to see directly, but they just straight up said it. But for now, I want to ask you guys what you think. I'm actually going to open up the chat again and see what all of you guys have to say. We see a lot of people saying Turn the mic down. Oh my god, the chat's going way too fast. I can't read everything. When is it live? It's live on the 19th, so 1 week from today. We'll answer like 1 or 2 more questions, and then we're gonna bounce out of here. Let me see what he said. He said, which hero do you think will get the cinematic next? That's asked by Axel Stavrum. We just got May. One of the other ones that was supposedly leaked was for Lucio. So if I had to take a guess, I would probably say Lucio. If not, I would definitely like to see one for Pharah, because I would like to see that storyline expanded more. Actually, probably the one I would want to see the most is probably for Widowmaker, because I think Widowmaker is the character that have the most, one of the characters I have the most interest for in terms of like seeing where that whole storyline goes, especially if it ends up becoming kind of like a redemption arc or something. Will I play Destiny 2? Probably. Yes, we are live. This is a live stream, guys. When is on console? I believe it's the same date for everything. Same date for everything. It's on the 19th, guys. 1 week from today. Okay, we'll do one last question before we get out of here, because I just wanted to talk about everything in there. Anything related to the video, there's lots of questions about like random stuff. Everyone's asking me, what's my favorite this? What's my favorite that? But what is, oh my God. Dravina says, interest in quotations in Widowmaker. No, seriously. Last one. Last question. Let's try and find one last question before we head out of here. Oh my God, do I like pineapples? That's not a real question. All right, maybe we'll just bounce on the last one. Widow has too much. Okay, this is one question he's asking about the lore. Widow has too much lore, Nickel, don't you think? No, not at all. I think that I don't know if any character could have too much lore. I think the Widow's lore is really interesting, and I'm very curious about how it's heading, especially after the whole Chateau Guillard thing. So we'll end it there. But thanks a lot for watching, guys. If you ended up enjoying this video, don't forget to subscribe and like the video. Also, if you want to come over, I'm going to hang out on the Discord for a little bit over on discord.gg/onickel. I'm going to go over there right now. I'm going to say what's up to everybody. These are the Discord people. So if you guys want to come by and hang out, it's discord.gg. I think I forgot to put in the description, but it's easy to remember. Discord.gg/onickel. Did I say that? I said that. Anyways, thanks a lot for watching, guys. I'll see you next time.